my name's Richard Harris, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to make a delicious Christmas spiced marmalade ham. Okay, to start with, we need to get our ham into a nice pan of water, bring it up to the boil and cook it for around about 2 hours. About an hour per kilo, depending on the size of your ham. That will actually finish and cook our ham, and then we'll allow it to cool, and that's when we're going to put on our lovely glaze. So I'm just going to chop up some vegetables which are going to flavour our ham really nicely and create a really lovely ham stock. Incidentally, the leftover stock from the pan is great used in soups and casseroles as well. So I'm just going to take a nice large pan. We've got about a teaspoon of peppercorns, and then we want to pop in our chopped veg and a bay leaf as well, just for some extra flavour. So the ham we're using is a boned rolled gammon joint. I'm using a smoked joint, but if you don't really like smoked ham, then you can go for unsmoked. That's just going to sit on top of the vegetables. So now we've got all our ingredients in the pan, we're just going to cover it in water and bring it to the boil. So it's really important that the ham is completely submerged in the water, otherwise the top will start to dry out if it pokes out the water. So our ham has been cooking away for a good 2 hours now, and we can tell it's done because it's nice and firm to the touch and the skin started to shrink back slightly. So we just popped it in this roasting tin and we're going to leave it to cool. While our ham's cooling, we're going to make our really delicious marmalade glaze. So we're going to start off with some nice dry cider. Okay, so to the cider, we're going to add 200 grams of marmalade. We don't want to use a smooth marmalade because we want to get those nice fine shreds of orange zest all over our ham at the end. Mustard and ham is a classic combination and it's going to add a real nice heat to our glaze. Next, we're going to add 200 grams of demerara sugar. Now, demerara sugar's got that lovely rich toffee flavour which goes beautifully with the ham but also kind of lends itself really nicely to Christmas cooking. So over a medium-high heat, we want to bring this to a nice gentle simmer. And just give it a stir to mix all those ingredients together. Now I'm going to add 2 star anise to the pan. I love star anise and it works beautifully with ham and just gives it that really lovely anisey, Christmassy flavour. And next we're going to add some ground cloves. Now you'll see a lot of traditional hams have cloves studded all over the surface of the ham, and whilst it's nice and it looks pretty, it's a bit of a pain and you don't want to find a whole clove in your ham sandwich. So we're going to get all the flavour of the cloves, but just from a nice ground clove instead. So once your spices are in, just give it all a nice mix together and bring it up to a simmer. So the final ingredient we're going to add is some clementine. We're going to use the juice and the zest. The zest is full of those lovely aromatic oils and the juice adds some nice sweetness and sharpness as well. For me, clementines really embody everything good about Christmas. They smell great, there's always a bowl of them in our house and they taste delicious. What we need to do now is bring it to the boil and let that simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes until it's nice and reduced and syrupy, around about the consistency of runny honey. While the glaze is reducing, we're going to prepare our ham. So first of all, we need to cut the string off the ham. The next thing we need to do is carefully remove the skin, but keep on as much fat as possible. And just with a nice sharp knife, carefully remove the skin. Using a small sharp knife, we want to score the fat in a crisscross pattern. So now we've scored one way, I'm just going to score back across to make a little diamond pattern. It's important that you don't cut all the way through to the meat, otherwise the hot air in the oven will dry the meat out. Now we've scored the fat on our ham, I'm just going to pop that into a roasting tin and pour the glaze over the top. So that's what we're looking for, about the consistency of warm runny honey. It's nice and reduced, and that's going to reduce further as it cooks. So we're going to pop that into an oven at 180 degrees for around 30 to 40 minutes. But we're going to need to keep glazing it as it cooks, just to ensure a really nice even glaze on the ham. Okay, so as you can see, the glaze is starting to get really nice and dark and sticky on top here. So we want to baste this about every 10 minutes, just to make sure we get a really nice even glaze over the ham. Right, there we are. So our glaze has got really nice and thick. As you can see, it's almost like toffee now. The ham's really nicely glazed and sticky, and we're just going to leave that to cool in the tin until we're ready to carve. So that's ready to serve, and that is how you make my Christmas spiced marmalade ham.